What is up, everybody? It's Matt with RARTCG back for another long form content video. Today's video is going to be all about buying and sourcing bulk cards for your business. So if you are ready to start your business, ready to start jumping in and slinging cards, as they say, but you're not really sure where to start, how to find cards, how to buy them, this video is going to share a lot of my tips and tricks for how I go about doing this. Now, understand everyone's going to be a little bit different, but for me personally, this is how I found success. So take what I have to say, adapt it, listen to some other people that are involved in this kind of side and niche of the business. Niche? Is it niche or niche? It doesn't matter. Anyways, learn from multiple people, develop your own style. You're gonna kill it. I'm excited for you since you're getting ready to sell your cards. Now, before we dive in, I do want to invite you to like and subscribe to the channel, okay? Like this video, subscribe to the channel. I can't believe it. We are over 460 subscribers already. That is crazy. The growth has been awesome. Can we try to hit, oh man, I'm so scared to set goals. Can we hit 10 likes on this video, guys, please? Anyways, if this video does add value to you, to your business, if you enjoy listening to Pokemon business content or just, some more positive outlooks on the hobby, definitely consider hitting that like button and subscribing. Let's dive into the video. No more wasting time here. So, how to buy and find bulk cards. Well, to start off with, I've got 3 main points I'm going to talk about, okay? The first is the most important thing. Like, if you don't get anything out of this video, I hope you get this, okay? Tip number 1 is to buy at the right price, okay? There is nothing that is more important than that. Because you're starting a business, right? Even if you're just doing passively, if you're just doing it for fun, no one starts a business, no one starts selling things in order to lose money. So you have to be very careful at what price you're buying product at. At the end of the day, the market price is the market price. So in order for you to remain profitable, you have to consider what it's going to cost you to go find and pick up those cards, what it's going to cost you in fees, and then what's it going to cost you to ship them, okay? All of those factors, kind of factor into what you may offer for cards, okay? So if you're looking for large collections, the sweet spot to be at is around 70%. Some people push that to 75%, but just remember that there are built-in fees, no matter if you're selling on eBay or TCG Player. And then for those of you that may, go crazy and go sell on Facebook Marketplace, there's also a cost that may not be evidence right away, but you have to drive, you have to negotiate, you have to spend time talking to the seller, you have to show up and spend money, time, gas to do all those things, okay? So there's still a cost associated with that, even if you're not selling on a traditional marketplace like eBay or TCG Player. Buy at the right price, y'all. So you may be asking, what is the right price to buy bulk at? For me, I always recommend that you buy bulk for anywhere between $5 and $10 per 1,000 cards. Now that's a pretty big range, but honestly, anywhere in that range is a sweet spot, okay? $5 is obviously way better than $10, and a lot of times, I would say 99% of the time, you're gonna be closer to $10 than you are $5. But this range is totally doable. I have bought a lot of bulk lots at this point, and very rarely will I ever go over that $10 per 1,000 cards kind of rule that I have. That is a strict bulk buy price for me, okay? Sometimes I'll try to negotiate a little bit lower. There have been times whenever I've been doing business with somebody I know on social media that I'm okay to cover some shipping price or something like that. So it may push my cost up to like $11 or $12 per 1,000, but those are very rare cases and very specific to the person I'm doing business with. So $5 to $10 per 1,000 cards is the sweet spot. Now, the quick math on that is if you're buying 1,000 cards at $10, you're paying a penny for each of those cards. Now, there will be cards in that bulk lot that are worth more than a penny. Obviously, that's the goal, right? There are some cards that will be worth over 25 cents. Now, if you start doing the math and you make sure you're profitable with your shipping, there's actually a lot of profit margin in bulk, but you have to do it at scale and you have to be able to fulfill orders. So if you're not prepared to sell, a ton of cards at one time, you just may want to temper your expectations because bulk isn't going to make you rich overnight, y'all. It's a grind. but it will allow you to generate revenue for your business that you can reinvest in other areas. Tip number one is to buy at the right price. Let's jump in to tip number two, y'all. And I'm gonna talk for a little bit because I have tip number two and tip number three kind of mixed up in my mind. But tip number two is where to find cards. I got it, y'all. I'm gonna save tip number three for the end. Tip number two is where to find cards. For me personally, I like to buy cards in person, either using Facebook Marketplace or using personal connections on social media. But other places you can buy bulk at are LGSs. A lot of times people will just donate bulk to LGSs or sell bulk to them. Or you can find bulk on eBay. Now just note that for LGSs and eBay, the bulk you're buying isn't necessarily going to be unsorted. It's not necessarily going to be the most profitable bulk. It doesn't mean you can't make money off of it. It just means that chances are it's been pre-sorted and maybe some of those higher value cards have already been sorted out of them. You run that risk, okay? And what I like to say, and I actually just came up with this, but I'm 100% sure it wasn't from me, okay? I'm not the original creator of this, but here's the deal. In business, I would say 99% of the time, 9 times out of 10, the more convenient and easy route is not gonna be the most profitable, okay? So if you want to go the easy route, you can look at places like eBay sellers that sell tons, just excess of cards. You can go to LGSs and see if they have any extra cards that they're willing to offload or sell to you for bulk prices, okay? If, however, you're willing to put in the work, then like actually talking to people on Facebook Marketplace, building a social media presence, being willing to engage and risk someone mailing you thousands of cards, all of that kind of stuff, then chances are you're going to get higher quality cards and potentially better prices that way, okay? It just takes more work, effort, strategy, all that stuff, okay? So I really encourage you to do that. I've got a little side rant I want to talk about before tip number three, and that's where we're going to close it. But I want to talk about this, okay? When it comes to reselling cards, having a Pokemon card business, being a reseller, selling cards for profit, I think in today's climate, okay, in today's market, there can sometimes be a negative kind of viewpoint, a perspective on people that are engaging in the hobby this way. And I just want to speak to this. Obviously I'm biased, right? I'm selling cards, but I really do think that selling cards is not inherently bad. You're not evil for engaging in the secondary market. A lot of times people think this way because of scalpers. They see the videos online, or they go to Walmart and they see someone loading up a cart, and they associate the scalping, the lack of product towards, they blame that on the reseller. I think honestly, I do have a little rant I'm going to talk about, but I think honestly, it makes sense, okay? I don't fault anybody for having that perspective or view on the hobby, because honestly, what they're seeing right in front of their face on social media all the time are people taking the product from retail stores, turning around and trying to make double or triple their money. And that is just a sad reality of the market that we're in. This will not be how the market is forever, okay? I have not been in the hobby. I've been in the hobby for about 2 years now, since 151 release. I think it's coming up on 2 years. Got back in. And I definitely saw the pre-hype time. I was more of a collector, considering selling during that time, trying to watch a lot of videos, learn a lot. And just in the last 6 to 7 months, I've been selling just as the market hyped up like it is now. So right around the release of Surging Sparks, all that good stuff, I started to see things go crazy. Now, there will be a time that things normalize. And what I mean by that is the newer sets are not going to be crazy popping off like they are. People are not going to be running to Targets and Walmarts, Best Buys, you name it, to grab as much product as they can. There will be a time in the future, nobody knows when, but things will cool off, okay? And that's going to be interesting. Let's circle back around to this negative kind of viewpoint people have. All of that's connected, but I don't want to get sidetracked too much on that. Here's my little viewpoint on this, okay? I think that resellers serve a very integral and important role in the hobby, okay? I think it's actually part of the ecosystem that makes the hobby as wonderful and as awesome and as beautiful as it is. Let's talk about it, okay? So when I go on Facebook Marketplace or I talk to somebody online on social media that's willing to sell their bulk to me, that's a collector that has an excess of cards that they're not sure what to do with. They don't necessarily want to throw them out because those cards have value to them. They remember ripping them, they remember collecting them, putting them in binders, but they're at a point now where their collection's kind of grown past that point, or they need to free up space. And so they're looking to offload some of that. Now, they can choose to donate them, obviously. They can choose to sell them to an LGS, or they can choose to sell them to someone like me that is a reseller. Now, here's where it gets really amazing, okay? That collector sells cards to me. They trust me to take good care of those cards, even though they know I'm going to actively be selling them. So I get this excess of bulk cards from the collector. They come to me, the business, the reseller, and then I get to kind of, sell those cards. And those cards are going into competitive decks. They're going into people's binders and collections. They're going into, Christmas gifts and stocking gifts for kids. It's actually really amazing. Do you see how like the reseller, the business plays a pivotal role in distributing cards throughout all the different aspects of the hobby? Obviously, yes, I get it. I understand that there's a negative stigma around it because of scalpers. But at the end of the day, I think it's really exciting. I'm not saying everyone needs to go out and become a reseller. I don't think it's about that. People are going to jump into this. They're going to realize like, hey, this is a lot of work and I don't really think I see myself doing this. And that's totally fine. At least you tried. It's not for everyone, okay? So anyways, I think everyone in the hobby, from the investor to the collector to the reseller, we all play a pivotal role, to the LGS owner, to the LGSs. We all play a pivotal role in the hobby. It's a wonderful, beautiful cycle and environment that we live in. Okay, let's jump into tip number 3 real fast and we'll close out the video. So tip number 3 is that it's okay to negotiate, okay? I think that negotiating when it comes to buying cards is oftentimes one of the hardest things to do. And you may hear my dog playing with a chew toy in the back. That's totally fine. You may hear, I just said that. So here's the deal. Negotiating is hard. It's a skill that you can develop over time. And honestly, it just takes practice. But here's the deal. It's okay. If you see a listing on Facebook Marketplace, you're like, hey, this looks really interesting, but the price is a bit higher than what I want to or am willing to pay. Remember, buy at the right price, y'all. So it's okay to message that person and be like, hey, this is actually what I do. I'm always upfront. I always let them know, like, hey, I sell cards. I have a small business selling cards. And I honestly am interested in your bulk cards, but I need to be somewhere between $5 and $10 per 1,000 cards. I'll give them an exact offer depending on what cards and sets I see. But then I leave it up to the seller, the collector, to then counter my offer, okay? So it's okay for me to go in and say, hey, would you be willing to take less than what you have these listed for? But also on the flip side, it's okay for the seller to come back to me and say, hey, I'm actually not okay with that. I'm not interested in selling to you. I don't want to sell to a reseller. That's perfectly fine. That is part of negotiating. So the only thing here that I want to end on is to always negotiate respectfully. If you are cold, heartless, if you don't genuinely care about the cards or the person you're interacting with, it's not going to go well for you. You're not going to really secure a lot of business that way. And I would really question, if you are more negative, it's okay to be a little bit negative. It's okay to be cynical. But if you're really cold and callous towards other people, are you sure you want to be in this business? Because all this is dealing with other people. I would just really think about that, okay? I can't really tell you exactly where you're at. Only you know that, right? But this business, especially when it comes to securing products, because we don't have access to distribution, right? We don't have that. So in order for us to find products, the reseller to find product, the bulk seller to find products, we have to go to the secondary market and we have to interact with people. We have to interact with human beings. And if you're cold, callous, and uncaring towards the collector who's trying to entrust part of their collection to somebody else, then the likelihood of that person selling to you or engaging with you is very, very low. So negotiating is okay. It's encouraged. It's expected even. But you always have to negotiate respectfully and really care about the person that you're communicating with. You never know what they're going through. So anyways, let's go ahead and end the video. Thank y'all so much for being here. Remember, our like goal for this video is 10 likes, y'all. That would be so sick. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. We're trying to hit 1,000 subs, obviously. And we're at the 400s, which is awesome. Thank y'all so much for being here. I will see y'all for the next video soon. Peace.